Welcome back. All right, so we're into November. I wanted to do something different, keeping in mind I'm doing a panic index tomorrow. So because I'm doing a panic index tomorrow, I don't want to do the same thing today. Ruin the surprise for tomorrow. So why a Charlie Brown magnet? I got this decal a year ago, and finally got it all magneted up because now I have a use for it. There are ones that I order where I'll see a decal online or decal, depending on which part of the world you're from, and I will say I that could be useful in a video, and it might be cartoony like Charlie Brown here or whatever it is. Now on this side I've got a Michael Scott rendering, and it says I understand nothing. So there's a reason for this. So Halloween's last night. It's November 1st. So which teams ended up getting a rock for their performance thus far this season, and which teams don't seem to understand they're in a rebuild? Which teams don't seem to understand? So I'm not going to be using all 31 logos for this at all. I will go or 31, 32. See, I forgot Seattle. Sorry, Seattle, you guys matter. I promise. So I'm going to go through all these. I'm going to just pick like a random order too, and which teams deserved a rock for the way they performed in October, and which teams really were supposed to be bad and weren't. And so there's going to be teams that don't qualify for either of these things. I'll start on this side. I'll start with Toronto because that's the one that people have been talking a lot about. I'm going to say that based on how their performance in October ended, I'll say, yeah, they get a rock in their candy bag, and they just don't. They haven't performed as well as the expectations. So they're not going to get a bunch of treats for Halloween, which I'm sure if they pay any attention to the media, which I don't recommend if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf, it'll be a rock for them. Vancouver, same thing. Vancouver, yes, they've won their last two, but it has been a really rough start to the season. Now, if we're going to get into a team that doesn't understand they're supposed to be bad, let's start off with Chicago. Chicago's playing well. Now, they usually have one bad period per game. So they'll have one 20-minute time where they don't look very good and they'll manage three or less shots. That seems to be the case very often in their games, but the record is much better than expected. So thus far, they don't seem to understand that they're in a rebuild, and this is supposed to be bad. And then Montreal, kind of in the same position. They're 5-4 after October. That is much better than expected. And so for Montreal, yeah, they're playing with house money. There's no pressure, and you can see with certain teams that not having pressure seems to make a big difference. And yeah, so Montreal and Chicago, they get treats. That's kind of the thing, right? This is you get a rock, and this one, yeah, you get a nice little candy bag, you get a little bit of extra because you guys did better than expected. The Buffalo side of things, I'm not going to put them on the board. I think they did very well this month. So I'll just move them over here. After I've talked about a team, I'll move them over here. That way I don't talk about the same team twice. New Jersey, very good start to the season. They're not in the I understand nothing part because I think the rebuild is kind of done. I think New Jersey fans watching another down season, that'd be tough, right? Because there's a lot of good young players in this lineup, so if you're going to get better, now's the time. Colorado, I would put them in this category, but here's the thing. They just won the Stanley Cup. So it is not all that surprising that a team that just won the Stanley Cup had a subpar October. After November, we can talk about it again, although this would be a once-a-year thing. Be weird to be giving out candy at the end of every month, wouldn't it? Although kids would love that. Kids would love to have Halloween once a month. 12 costumes, parents go bankrupt, the whole thing. Now, Boston's in an interesting position because they're much better than expected, but I can't put them here because they're not rebuilding. Boston wasn't a team that I was expecting to see at 8-1, but here we are. Winnipeg had a decent finish to the season. They don't qualify for the Rock territory either. Vegas had an amazing month altogether, so they don't qualify for that Rock either. And the Capitals, I think it was a decent month, not fantastic, but considering the injuries, I think that's an acceptable month for them. So I've taken care of that whole row. Ottawa, no rocks for them. They're doing well. Is there this for? Are they in the I understand nothing part of we don't understand what to rebuild? No, because Ottawa was picked by many to make the playoffs, and right now, even though they're at the bottom of their division, even though they're 4-4, I think they've played well enough that I'm not going to put them in that category. Minnesota, I'm going to say it's a rock for Minnesota. And I'm going to say it's a rock for Minnesota because they were expected to be better. Now, things are getting better, in no small part because Marc-Andre Fleury's play has improved. Well, I'm still going to say a rock in the bags for them. I'm still going to say that. Anaheim, here's where things get interesting. Anaheim 2-6-2 at a miserable month, but that win over Toronto had to feel pretty good. So as much as I'm tempted to put them in this category, they weren't expected to be a playoff team. They weren't expected to be in contention for being a playoff team. So as a result, I will put them in the exempt category. Philadelphia absolutely does not understand how bad they're supposed to be. They are in contention for first place in that division, keeping in mind New Jersey's first in that division because we're in crazy times. But yeah, Philadelphia clearly didn't, and with Tortorella at the helm, they're going to get more wins than I think most of us had expected, and it would be fun to have Philadelphia back in the playoffs. Columbus is in rock territory. Yeah, the 3-7 start, not great. I think there was a lot more expected of the Columbus Blue Jackets than what they provided us thus far. And so, yeah, that's a team that I think qualifies. Now, this is not the same as the Panic Index because there's teams that are here that I don't foresee tomorrow when I do the Panic Index being right next to the Panic face. A couple of them maybe. But as, for instance, Vancouver, if they win tonight over New Jersey, there's not going to be a panic. That'd put them at 3-5-2, which is bad. But still, a 3-game winning streak, I think, would take them out of panic territory. New Jersey, it's a rock for New Jersey. They've won one game where they're not playing against San Jose. And so, yeah, a team that was expected to be decent. You'll notice it is the backwards magnet. These are the helmet magnets that I make from the helmet decals, where they have, and for whatever reason, on one set, it's both of them are facing the right direction, and on the other set, one's facing one way and one's facing the other. No idea. The rest of it is exactly the same. But yeah, Nashville had a tough month. I do like their logo backwards. I don't mind that actually. I think that's kind of fun. I wouldn't mind seeing them do that as a reverse retro. We reversed our logo. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, Nashville, I think I'll put them in that category. Absolutely. The Oilers have recovered from a slow start. I'm still seeing things about Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner, and I don't think the goaltenders are nearly as worried about it as the media or some of the fans. All they care about is winning games. I don't think it's that important who's in the net. You still get paid either way. And so, yeah, I don't see any reason to have Edmonton on the board. Tampa Bay, it's been a tough start for Tampa Bay overall. They don't look like themselves, but they were in 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. I can't have them getting a rock when they've been in 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. I'm not a monster. So, yeah, Tampa Bay goes over here. Florida, you know what's funny? Florida, a 5-3-1 start. Almost any other season would be seen as a huge success. Because of the expectations coming into this year, you could almost understand if I put them in this category. Almost. Close to understanding. So I'm going to put Florida over here. The Islanders. Early in the month, they had a hard time. They've turned it around. They've won a few in a row. And so the Islanders, they're not in the not understanding part of things. They're also not in the I got a rock category either. Dallas, same thing. Dallas, decent start. They've lost 3 out of 4, but they had all those wins. That's why the wins to start the season are important. That's why that fast start is important. San Jose, it's a rock for San Jose. Now, here's the difference. Anaheim's rebuilding and has set it. San Jose is not. San Jose, before the season started, the expectation from management publicly was this team would contend for the playoffs and things should get better. Mike Greer really tried to sell that, and ownership doesn't want to rebuild. So for that reason, I have San Jose on this side of the board and getting a rock. And nobody's actually getting a rock, so it's all fine and it's not a big deal. Seattle, I'm going to put Seattle in the I understand nothing category in that they are competitive. They're doing relatively well. They've only won 4 out of 10, so it's not like a great record, but they're still better than they were last year. And I think that Burakovsky's been really good. And here's the other thing. Seattle's 4-4-2 while the goaltending numbers have been mostly awful. So if the goaltending numbers get better, Seattle could actually be in the running for 3rd spot in that division. Now, I don't know that they get there, but they could be. And again, you'd have to have either Calgary, Vegas, or Edmonton to drop off. But hey, Central doesn't look fantastic, and so it could be a wild card they get as a consolation, and that would be huge if we saw 4 teams in the Pacific make the playoffs after everything that's been said about it. St. Louis is getting a rock. Based on last night, are you kidding me? So St. Louis, you know, it's interesting. They win 3 games to start the season. Things look good. Everything's clicking, and then they lose 5 in a row. Something's gone wrong here, and it's very, very fast season, so you don't have a lot of time to fix it. You don't. St. Louis isn't playing tonight, but for their general manager, he's got a certain amount of time to fix this, and if he doesn't, then St. Louis ends up missing the playoffs, which would surprise pretty darn near everybody. I'm trying to think if I saw anybody picking St. Louis as a team that would miss the playoffs. I don't think so. The New York Rangers, they were in rock territory until that win over Dallas, and so right now I'm not going to put them in, obviously, either category. They're not a rebuilding team. But for the Rangers, almost in that territory, and for Pittsburgh, that 4-game road trip kind of sort of puts them here, in my eyes. That 4-game road trip was tough. They lose against Vancouver, which, as a Canuck fan, hey, that was a great game for the Canucks. It was a bad game for Pittsburgh. And that was after back-to-back losses in Alberta, and then they went into Seattle the next night, and they lost again. So for Pittsburgh, the scoring dropped off pretty precipitously over that road trip. They're going to have to turn it around. They go from being the top team in their division and top 2 in the league to being middle of the pack and being one of those teams that's right on the cusp of either being in the playoffs or being out. So they better turn it around because, again, the season it's fast. And November's a very busy schedule. I was looking at November's schedule as we got to the end of October, and I was like, oh, right, yeah, I'm not going to have a lot of time for much of anything this month because there's a lot of hockey going on. It's going to be very busy. Calgary doesn't get a rock for their month of October. They also do not get the I understand nothing because they understand where they're at, and that's right near the top of the division, right? So the loss against Edmonton, it is what it is. These games happen. If Markstrom stays in his net and doesn't come out, and if he's set, maybe McDavid doesn't score. Maybe the Oilers don't win that. But again, there's a lot of ifs and maybes about a lot of the results for these teams. Carolina, good month for Carolina. They're not a team that's in any kind of a rebuild. LA, I think, salvaged the month with the way that it ended with that win over St. Louis. I think it'd be mean for me to put them in this category when they're 6-5 after 11 games. They want to be better than that, obviously, but I don't think I can put them in that category. The Detroit Red Wings, by the end of the month, losing 3 out of 4 the way that they did, I'm kind of tempted to throw them up here, but they didn't make the playoffs last year. Their record's not bad right now, and so I'm not going to be mean. Arizona, I'm going to put them here. Why? Because they're competitive every night. Arizona's competitive every night, and it's almost as if players don't tank, and they don't. And that's why I say that as often as I do, because they don't. The team in that locker room does not care who you're drafting next June. They do not care. Your odds for drafting where you're going to draft next June. And so, yeah, Arizona is playing well enough to surprise some people. We'll see whether or not they're able to win any of the remaining games that they have at Mullet before the 14-game road trip. Tonight they're at home against Florida. So we'll see. And again, if Florida takes them lightly, well, if I did this tomorrow, if Florida lost against Arizona, I might be tempted to give them a rock. So that's 8 teams that would have got a rock for their Halloween. And that's 5 teams that got some candy and treats they wouldn't have expected for overachieving and not understanding their place in the National Hockey League. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Obviously, I can only do this once a year. So, hey, first annual? Sure, why not? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And if you don't understand the Charlie Brown and The Rock reference, I don't know how to help. I don't. It is so ingrained in my childhood that growing up, there were 12 channels. And so the Halloween shows would fire up. And even though it was exactly the same ones I watched the year before, I was excited because it was something different than all of the regularly scheduled programming. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.